the deck everyone wants to beat. I assume you prepare for it with everything that you do, but we're going to have to see who wins the role here in Game 1 and how prepared Adam is for the most popular deck in the room.
We'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Here comes the die roll.
6.
Looks like Joel's going to roll a 6. Adam is...
It looks like a 4.
Yep.
Yeah, every time I roll like a funny dice with the icon, I'm like, come on, please be the 6. Let me check and see if there's a 1 on the other side. It is in fact a 1, so Adam's losing the die roll, which is not off to a great start. But we'll have to see. Gold Pride's one of those decks that can play going second, but definitely wants to go first.
Yeah, I think the thing about the Gold Pride engine is the Gold Pride cards itself doesn't take up that much space, but the Punk engine does. Especially looking at this list here, it's a very heavy Punk engine, so you don't have all that much space for the cards to use going second or try to clear these fields. You really rely on seeing the most powerful ones, which I think is what Adam's going to try to do here. He's going to be using less of those kind of interruptions that you're using in your hand to disrupt them on their turn, focus on dealing with it after the fact. And that's going to be really important here when it comes to dealing with something along the lines of a Rise Heart, which is going to be cutting off all your graveyard access.
And Joel's definitely going to make it there, starting off strong with Pressure Planet Razos to get Kashtira Unicorn. He special summons that Kashtira Unicorn to add Birth, because he already had Kashtira Theosis in the hand as well. He special summoned that Fenrir from the deck, and now he's going to use Fenrir's effect to add another copy of Kashtira Fenrir to the hand.
That is interesting. Choosing to grab another copy of Fenrir for the follow-up on the next turn, or just potentially later in this turn, but that usually means you have all the other monsters that you'd want in your hand already, or you're choosing to commit nothing else and just playing more of like a almost gadget strategy. But no, it looks like we are committing more to the field here. We're going to special summon that Rise Heart because you control those Kashtira monsters.
Yep, it looks like he did open up with that Kashtira Rise Heart. I know a lot of Kashtira players have kind of gone down to playing one Rise Heart a lot of the time, so because you can just search it with the Fenrir.
Yeah, not the most ideal opening either. Kashtira Rise Heart doesn't do much on its own, but when you're able to pair it with something like Birth, you can get some sort of a combo going. But this is the new, I feel, bread and butter combo that people have been popularizing lately, which has created the resurgence of Nibiru the Primal Being because it plays into it so hard.
Go chain 1.
So the Rise Heart, you get to banish a Kashtira card from your deck, then your opponent has to banish the top 3 cards from their deck. He's going to banish Kashtira Big Bang, and since the cards got banished, it's going to trigger Shangri-Ira to lock a zone, and the Big Bang's going to allow him to detach a material, add it to his hand, or special summon that material, and he decides to special summon the Fenrir. And now the Rise Heart is level 7 thanks to its effect.
This is very interesting. Choosing to keep the Fenrir on the field here and only having a 1 material or Rise Heart, he could have opted to overlay those 2 level 7 monsters into an additional copy of Shangri-Ira and then put the Rise Heart on top of that, so it would already have 3 materials. But choosing to keep the Fenrir on the field right now, maybe he doesn't want to activate the effect of Shangri-Ira on your opponent's turn to like play into something along the lines of tactics to allow your opponent to use, or just give them access to summoning their own Rise Heart on top of any Kashtira monster because Shangri-Ira has activated that turn. Really just wants to maybe play around that and focus on having all those forms of interruptions and not necessarily worried about the Rise Heart right now. But that doesn't seem to be the case because on the Stamina phase, Unicorn has been summoned by the effect of Shangri-Ira.
He's just trying to go for it all. He wants to have Unicorn, Fenrir, and the Rise Heart, along with the Shangri-Ira, all the Kashtira monsters all at once, and he still has that one face-down Speller Trap that Adam's also going to have to navigate through. I do see an Emergency Teleport on the front of the hand, which is one of the strongest cards in this deck, which is fantastic.
Yeah, as far as like the limitations that the Punk engine loses because of the Rise Heart's banish effect, it's mainly just the larger ones. So we got Ogre Dance and Foxy Tune coming from the hand. Those cards need to go to the graveyard to get their valuable stuff. But the level 3s themselves, you still have plenty of access to their effects.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they're all tuners, so you're able to go into your extra deck to maybe deal with something with the Rise Heart, or maybe force out the Rise Heart summon. So yep, since the card is banished, the Rise Heart's mandatory trigger is going to attach a material, so he's going to put that Big Bang underneath the Rise Heart, because when he detaches it again, it's going to get banished and be able to trigger that effect.
Activate Zayaman.
And here's Zayaman paying 600.
So now that he has lower life, that's going to turn on all his Gold Pride monsters to be able to special summon from his hand if he does have any.
Yeah, that is the neat synergy that really puts those 2 decks together.
Yep, it's going to be met by Infinite Impermanence. So now the Rise Heart's going to get that 3rd material underneath it, so he'll be able to use the effect at some point during the turn.
Do you have anything on Resolution?
Nope.
Go Fenrir effects?
Yeah, we'll go to this turns.
Okay.
Yep, it looks like there wasn't enough to stop the onslaught of Kashtira monsters. They're choosing to put up every form of interruption that the Kashtira monsters typically put out here.
Yeah, it's definitely a solid start from Joel. He kind of put his opponent on, you better have Nibiru or else, and It was the or else situation here for Adam, not able to overcome that strong turn 1 board. Joel taking a quick win there with Kashtira. I feel like if you take Kashtira to the tournament, that's the kind of game you're looking for, where you can pretty much do whatever you want and not have any sort of resistance or pushback. So this kind of plays into, do you like want to look more at board breakers? Are you more looking at those cards from your hand that you can use on your opponent's first turn? It's kind of a tough call, but with stuff like Thrust, I'm a big fan of Triple Tactics Thrust, because with that particular board, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, got a little bit of dry throat, but yeah, with that particular board that he had, if you just have a Triple Tactics Thrust, since the Shangri-Ira activates in the standby phase, you're able to thrust right away, grab Triple Tactics Talent. It's going to keep putting the materials on the Rise Heart, and then when you activate the Talent, they can either use the Rise Heart to banish one of their own cards, or you can just take the Fenrir, and then that'll trigger when the mandatory effect of Rise Heart triggers. So even just one thrust can break that entire board. Yeah. But unfortunately, Adam didn't have it there.
Yeah, thrust could have gone quite a couple different ways there. You could have even, if you are allowed to take the Arise Heart, you can go for a Zeus play, and it'll have a million materials just from Arise Heart, constantly attaching for every activation there. All the cards happening to hit the banish just because cards were activated. So if you want to just have multiple layers of interruption, clearing the field with one Zeus activation, probably still having more material there. Or if you don't want to work that hard, you can just add Dark Ruler no more.
Yeah, Dark Ruler no more is a fantastic card. We've seen a lot of players main decking it this weekend. I imagine we're going to see a lot in the top cut as well.
Yeah, I think Dark Ruler has been particularly popular going into this format. But I think that's also why a lot of decks have been leaning toward making as strong of a going first field as they can, trying to layer the interruption so they can kind of beat board breakers. Labyrinth has been choosing to do cards such as Eradicator Epidemic Riders, not necessarily for Dark Ruler, but more so those board breaker-esque cards that we keep talking about. The decks are just really trying to create their win condition as early as they can so that they can play around the board breakers and kind of punish them for not interrupting them on their first turn. But I think that is part of what makes this tournament so complex, is what avenue players are going to choose. Are they going to continue choosing that line? Are they going to adapt, try to go for those interruptions from the hand, make sure players aren't able to get to that first turn that they want to have? Or are they just going to lean into it and just keep on going with those board breaker-esque cards?
Yeah, it's interesting. And going to the side deck, I feel like now Adam's going to go first. We mentioned how the Punk cards is a huge engine in this deck. Definitely better going first than second. He's also going to, you mentioned Eradicator, but Epidemic Virus, even something like Anti-Spell, just kind of slowing down Kashtira can be huge if you have something to deal with, like a Fenrir or something. But Kashtira definitely a deck that uses a lot of spell cards, so if you can counter those spell cards with any kind of disruption, could be huge.
Now, Joel did get some knowledge here. He saw that Adam summoned Zeaman. So when you see something like that, do you just assume it's Gold Pride Punk? What do you decide for it?
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to assume it's Gold Pride Punk because I mean, it could be pure Punk. We don't see it too often, but yeah, it might. Just some sort of Dark Ruler no more, board breaker kind of cards would be good. But it looks like they have decided they're ready to go. Let's go ahead and jump right into game number 2 here at the NAWCQ of our third round of Swiss.
Sure. I imagine Adam is going first. He's playing the combo deck. He doesn't want to be dealing with the Kashtira monsters, except for maybe his own. So he's going to be summoning a Fenrir here. Very popular in not only the Kashtira strategy, but in every other one, just because of how strong that individual body is.
And it also works really well with the level 3 tuners. It gives you access to something like Baron de Fleur as well. So we'll have to see if that is going to be the case. Looks like Fenrir is going to grab another copy of Kashtira Fenrir. I think that has to be one of Fenrir's favorite targets, especially in decks that aren't like pure Kashtira.
In this match so far, Fenrir has searched Fenrir exclusively.
Gold Pride better luck next time.
All right, here's a Gold Pride better luck next time. This is going to let him add a Gold Pride monster from the deck to the hand, and then he's going to take damage equal to its attack.
Yeah, you think that's a cost, but in reality, that's all this deck really wants. You want to take just a little bit of damage, not too much, but then that puts you at a position where you are able to activate all of the Gold Pride monster's effects.
Yep. Oh, but it's going to be met by Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring.
Look at hand.
Oh, and Towns is going to be looking at the hand immediately. Adam knew that he has more cards to continue. That is 2 copies of Evenly Matched.
So yeah, I think you have to go for the Pressure Planet here.
Oh, going for Enemy Controller.
Interesting.
Very interesting. He has a plan for every single card in Joel's hand, I can imagine.
Foxy Tune.
There's Foxy Tune being able to get another...
Gold Pride? Or, sorry, Punk.
Punk monster, yeah.
You discard it from the hand. If it resolves, you discard another card, and then you can special summon a Punk monster from your deck to the field. Imagine we'll see Zeaman.
Yeah, usually you would go for Zeoman here, but not as, like usually when there is such a large Punk engine, it's not as common that you go straight for Zeoman because you can special summon it off of Jam Drive from your hand later.
True.
You can just try to get access to the field spell as early as you can, so maybe you start leaning into that option, but it seems like Zeoman is a fine choice right now.
Yeah, for me, if I was like, I don't have Deer Note yet, I'm going for Zeoman to give me Deer Note. Oh, but he's going to go for Madame Spider? Or no, that's the trap one.
Activate Diffuse.
Was that Wagon?
I think that's Wagon. He's going to be using those to fuse. I believe he's going into the Carp.
So he's going to fuse. This is the way you can get the Punk cards from your deck. You're able to use the Wagon's effect to fusion summon.
Effect to tribute.
Yep, so he's able to tribute himself, and it summons 2 different gold...
Non-level 8 Punks, yes.
Yeah. I keep getting the gold prides and the Punks confused, because at this point they're just the same.
They blend together. Oh, that's the Wagon. The first one was the Sharasukai. The Wagon's the one that searches for the field spell.
Yeah, that makes sense. It searches for any Punk spell card.
Yeah.
Activate field spell.
But why not get the field spell, you know? It seems like the pretty good one.
Yep, Punk Jam Extreme Session.
And now that is a 3 and a 5. So if he wants to go into his...
Chaos Ruler?
Well, one
Once
can only
upon a
wish.
time.
Yeah, that would be ideal. But I think, you know, for second place, their own on-theme Synchro monster seems fine.
Jam Dragon Drive is amazing. Being able to add any level 3 Psychic monster, you can even get something like Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. And the Deer Note effect is going to trigger to bring back a monster. That's kind of how the Punk card goes into the level 8, into a rank 8 play. You can Synchro for the level 8. Deer Note, when it's into the graveyard special, summons back a Punk. So you can bring back a Foxy Tune or something.
And now, let's
Jam
clarify for
Dragon
everyone in the audience here. How often does
Chainlink
the
one,
field spell
Deer
draw a
Note,
card?
Often. Twice per turn, I believe.
Twice per turn? Not just on your turn, potentially
Both
on your
turns.
opponent's. So maybe you draw 4 cards.
It's pretty easy to pay life to activate a Psychic effect in the Punk deck.
Use Jam Dragon's effect to send.
There's 1 payment right there. Going to go ahead and send a monster from deck to grave. Sending Yan Yan.
Okay, getting a level 3 into the graveyard that you can bring back. That is a level 3 Psychic monster.
Yep.
Brings back the Syracuse.
Chainlink 1, Jam Session, Chainlink 2, Yan Yan.
Sure.
This is a cool little combo. All right, so he gets to bring back Nyan Nyan and draw a card.
Yan Yan triggers whenever a level 3 monster is summoned. Sharkusai is the one that searches a trap card? Or
It's the fusion one, I think, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That is what happened.
Yeah, unless you on your opponent's turn, you can synchro summon.
Oh. What do you think you go for there? The Psychic and Punisher? Or
The big dragon, amazing dragon. Then
yes,
you can bounce the 3 cards with it. Yeah, it's one of my favorite Punk cards. It's amazing.
Yeah, I remember playing that in old versions of the Adventure Synchro deck, where you're able to summon it just typically on your own turn just to cycle itself back to another monster in the graveyard. You rarely actually get to use the effect that puts cards back in the hand. But it's much more functional when you're able to use both of those effects.
Definitely. Adam taking a moment to consider his options.
I wonder if he wants to synchro away the Fenrir or just keep it as a Fenrir.
Fenrir is a good monster just to leave face up on your board. It's definitely something you have to consider to deal with when you're playing out your turn. Just being able to banish a monster on the field is fantastic, but he is looking at going for a level 10 synchro. It might be that Baron to floor. He knows his opponent's hand, which is evenly matched Pressure Planet Race Off, right? So the Baron's not going to do too much to the evenly matched. I'm assuming he has to have something for the Pressure Planet. So now he's going to synchro.
Can't wait for Adam to activate Mind Crush. Oh, there's the
Psychic and Punisher, okay. Psychic and Punisher, as long as Adam's life points are lower than Joel's, it's going to be unaffected by his activated effects. At the start of the battle phase, it can gain attack equal to the difference in life points, and you can pay 1,000 to banish one of your cards to banish one of your opponents as well, which is pretty strong. I love Psychic and Punisher.
Activate and Punisher.
There's Punisher using its effect in the battle phase now.
Permanent life attack gain.
Yeah, permanent's kind of ridiculous. He gets big real fast.
And it's just the difference in your life points. The unaffected part you have to be lower, but it could be the other one.
Okay.
Interesting.
Still on the battlefield.
Is he just going to keep Baron and the Psychic and Punisher's unaffected? Is that what his plan is? No, he's just going to keep Psychic and Punisher. Oh, because it is affected because it's not an activated effect.
Main 2?
He has to. It is him doing it.
Yes, he would be the one making that choice. But now he's allowing Joel to just go through his entire Kashtira line. Very interesting. I wonder if he has anything in his hand to potentially stop what's going to happen.
He has to, right? He put back the enemy controller, right? So he has to have a plan.
Well, so there's one unknown card in Joel's hand. If you're searching Fenrir here, I imagine the card in your hand is Birth?
It's whatever he drew for turn.
Because normally you just go for Unicorn every time here. just try to get the entire combo through. So he's searching Unicorn here, so I have to imagine that the card in his hand is Birth.
It would be a heck of a top deck.
And there it is.
Wow.
Sure.
Normal summon?
I can only seem to think if you just put back the pressure plate, having Birth, Econ, evenly matched.
Yeah, just cut off Joel from any kind of engine.
Yeah.
Put him like, he can potentially clear your board, but if you can't do anything else, then that's not really a problem.
Go ahead and use the Unicorn effect to add Kashtira Theosis.
There is Theosis being targeting the Fenrir, so able to summon a non-Earth Kashtira monster from your deck. Locked out of anything but Xyz summons. People often forget that effect. Very important for not necessarily Kashtira by itself, but all the hybrid decks.
Definitely. It's kind of like when you see the Kashtira hybrid into it. They don't usually use Theosis, but we did see Patrick Hoban using Theosis when he was also using a synchro strategy.
You said use it at the end.
Yep, just wait until the very end to use it. Because it is luckily just one of those cards that's for the rest of the turn and not the entire turn. Yeah, Psychic and Punisher is kind of hard to deal with, especially without a battle phase and your life points being higher. It's a rough one. So Adam definitely not out just yet. He might have just thought maybe my Psychic and Punisher is going to be strong enough to beat whatever Joel's going to throw at me.
Yeah, Adam has mentioned that he has played this Kashtira matchup a lot. He understands that it can be particularly difficult going second, but he can rely on Punisher a lot when you're able to go first because the deck just has a hard time outing it. And I imagine he's been in this scenario before, and he feels that the engine itself is not going to cause any concern.
Very true. Now Rise Heart is going to use his effect to banish top 3 from Adam's deck and banish Kashtira Birth from his own deck, it looks like.
Interesting choice. Maybe in case of the field gets cleared, he can banish Theosis from his graveyard by some means and be able to add Birth back.
I could see that. Yeah, Theosis has that bonus ability. If it's banished from the graveyard, you can add back a banished Kashtira card.
Shangri-La effects.
The Shangri-La, because of the field spell, if its effect is activated, he's going to be able to destroy a card as well if he wants to. I don't think he will, considering there's nothing there to destroy except for a card that can't be affected.
And since Shangri-La activated the effect, he's able to put Kashtira Rise Heart on top of any Kashtira monster. There's still no way to deal with that Psychic and Punisher. It's only going to get stronger.
So now we'll see Joel likely use the effect in the standby phase to summon a monster from the deck from the Shangri-La. Decides to just get as much more engine as he can. And we'll see how much of those gets cleared by the Punisher just outright. Maybe that's what Adam wants. He wants Joel to run out of monsters, so he's just going to clear as much as he can with forcing Joel to commit bodies to the field.
Declare
I could see it.
special summon.
I mean, I imagine, yeah, Psychic and Punisher has to be tough for Kashtira to deal with, but we do finally see our first Gold Pride monster. Since his life points are lower, he can special summon Gold Pride Leon from the hand. Gold Pride Leon has the effect you can special summon back a Gold Pride monster from the graveyard. Nothing to summon back here, but it's also a wind 3-star tuner.
And now we only need just another level 3 monster. You're going to be able to go into the extra deck and summon their powerful rank 3, which will be able to grab another copy of Better Luck Next Time, I believe.
Yep, Chariot Carry is an awesome Xyz monster. Kind of reminds me of Dante a little bit, the Burning Abyss Xyz monster, because it does so much. If you have lower life points, you also get to send a Gold Pride monster from your deck to your graveyard that you can bring back later on with Gold Pride Leon.
Yeah, that,
pretty cool.
I think that was one of the starters that the deck really needed.
Oh, yeah.
I'll activate Punisher. I'll pay 1,000.
So he's going to use Punish effect to pay 1,000 to banish his monster and banish Joel's Arise Heart before it can amass any more materials.
So a little dangerous here, choosing to banish a Rise Heart. That is where it's most accessible. Theosis can easily put it back in the extra deck when there's only one copy of it. That can be a concern, but I guess at this point, it wasn't a problem while it was on the field there. It probably won't be a problem if it's on the field later. Maybe more of a distraction even to keep him away from getting another copy of Birth.
Activate effect.
All right, now this is Madame Spider, so this is the one that he can pay 600 to add a Punk Trap card. And it looks like he is going to add the Dangerous Gabu.
Dangerous Gabu is, I want to say, similar to an Infinite Impermanence, isn't it?
Sort of, yeah. And then you get a little bit, it's a little bit better if you have a Punk Monster on the field.
Punisher is going to go in and destroy the, or attempt to destroy the Shangri-La. He's going to protect himself by attaching one material.
Oh,
yeah. Did he use the effect of Psychic and Punisher to gain attack? I'm assuming he wanted to gain 4,000 attack.
Drop.
For all we know, that Psychic and Punisher could be like at 7,000 attack right now.
Standby will go effective Shangri-La.
What do you think about him banishing the Rise Heart instead of the Shangri-Ira and then attacking over the Rise Heart? Do you think he was worried about the Rise Heart just getting the 3 materials, even though it wouldn't be able to go after the Psychic Yin Punisher?
I think that's a potential concern. He might have also just forgotten that it would be able to protect itself.
Yeah.
So negate. Okay, negates effects. New chain. No, I don't have anything. New chain. Planet. Target that pop.
Because Shangri was still activated, he's going to be able to use the effective pressure planet. Cosmic Cyclone is being used on the Birth here.
Oh yeah, banish. My bad.
So this is good for Joel because the Birth has not actually activated, so if he does find another copy, he is still able to use it.
See what's up next for Joel here. I really don't know what out he has in his deck to the Psychic Yin Punisher. I guess like something like triple, no, because that's an activated effect. It's tough for Kashtira to deal with this card. Once it's out, if you don't have like a Kaiju or something, or finding a way to get your life lower than your opponent's, it can be a true menace.
Oh, it looks like he's going to attempt to maybe rank up into a Zeus play, maybe?
I imagine that's what he's thinking.
But
his back is against the wall for sure in this game.
A 1 materials, no, back in defense he goes.
I do think he put the Shangri-Ira in attack mode.
Yeah. See if he's going to be forced to commit to that. And back in attack he goes.
Have to do that.
Yeah, you can't flip flop which way your monsters are facing. We see that dangerous Gabu.
So this is the big thing, right? He's attempting to put it in attack mode so he can crash, so that he can try to detach, so that he can put a material or on a Zeus potentially. But that effect is still negated. So he would just lose the monster.
Yeah, and also if you have the plan to go to the battle phase to try and attack into Psychic Yin Punisher so your life gets lower, that can backfire really quickly when the Psychic Yin Punisher gets up to like 11,000, you just can't crash into it. If he's been using it every battle phase, after this 5,000 games, it should be at 11,000.
I believe it is up there.
Because it should have gained 4,000 last turn, 5,000 this turn, that's 9,000 plus the base 35. Like, we're looking at a huge Psychic Yin Punisher.
And now there is a monster in attack mode for it to attack.
Doesn't matter if the Shangri-Ira can protect itself. If it's in attack mode, wide open. Joel looks like he might be considering. That hand looks like he's like, I might as well scoop.
Really contemplating his options, seeing just in case he might be missing something.
Main 2.
Yeah, he's going to go into main phase 2, pass on the turn. All Adam has to do is take that swing of the Punisher into the Shangri-Ira here. Shangri-Ira is going to attempt to summon something here. He's going to be able to use the effective pressure planet to destroy the Punk monster, but I don't think any of that's going to matter yet.
Yeah, I really think Adam was like, I don't care about your Kashtira monsters, leaving him with the pressure planet in the hand because he knew just Psychic and Punisher is just so strong against the deck.
Yeah, he clearly had a plan, knowing that Punisher was not going to be
dealt with,
removed by any of the actual Kashtira cards. But I wonder, what is the threat of enemy controller?
It's the variable. It's the variable. It's the unknown factor. He's probably just going to go after anything that's non-engine, right? I imagine that's the thing.
Yeah, and Joel realizes just how quickly that monster gained the stats.
I mean, he gained 10,000 over the past 2 turns.
Yes.
So it's way over for enough damage, and Adam's showing the power. Not so much of the gold part of the deck, but the Punk cards, just being able to rely on those.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was
he had if he didn't get Ash Blossom, the turn 1 board would have been so much stronger.
Yeah, having access to potentially Roller Baller as well, being able to fusion summon on your opponent's turn, go into the actual Gold Pride engine.
Yeah, my favorite thing is you do Captain Carry, right? So you get Start Your Engines, and you have your Start Your Engines. And Start Your Engines works as like a 2-part timed removal. Not, like, you have something like Dogmatic of Punishment where, yeah, you can use 1 trap to take out 2 cards, right? But Start Your Engines, you're going to be able to destroy the monster they summon, and then potentially special summon Roller Baller from your deck. And the Roller Baller at a different time can use its effect to fuse into, Pinballer can fuse into Roller Baller. I get them confused which one. So yeah, Pinballer is the fusion monster, so I did have it right. And then you'll be able to equip monsters with the Pinballer's effect as well. So you get 2 different time spots removal, which is a huge advantage. On top of being layered removal, because we saw Dark Ruler No More is so popular in the main deck, you want to have traps as well as huge boards with monster effects on top of that.
Absolutely. I think Rollerball, or like Pinballer rather, has such an interesting form of removal because it equips those monsters to himself, right? Not destroying them. So every time you see a card effect not destroy, it's like it gets around a lot of those protections that these monsters innately have.
Yeah, and it also has the bonus effect. If your life points are lower, you can't respond to the activation of the pinballer. So once that fusion monster touches down, you're usually in trouble, and it's too late at that point. And if you don't know that and you're waiting to use something like infinite permanence on the fusion, you can backfire very quickly.
Yeah. Non-destruction, can't respond type of removal, that's usually a pretty good effect.
Definitely. Anytime, we saw it with the DDD, Exceeds monster. Anytime you get take a monster and put it as a material, Sprite Double Cross, for example. If you're taking a monster and putting it underneath your gigantic Sprite or something like that, it's just gone. It's leaving the field, but technically just going somewhere else, not the graveyard. So you get to dodge a lot of things that would normally stop you from, or normally give them advantages.
I think the only thing that really holds back these type of effects is that they're so monster-based.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing that the Gold Pride engine alone can't really deal with, is that it has so much really powerful removal against monsters. But what are they supposed to do with spells and traps? What are they supposed to do when they play against something like Labyrinth? And I think that's where the Punk engine can really come and shine, where it just out-advantages them with all the draw, all the really powerful monsters, put up the pressure. The best way to deal with trap cards sometimes is just putting out too many monsters that they can't deal with and just attacking and then forcing them to use their cards while you just generate more value.
Yeah, I mean, and then having multiple copies of stuff like Emergency Teleport, being able to extend to you, because just one Zeamon is your full Punk combo. So even if you're able to force out something like an Arise Heart, an Infinite Permanence, one of the Book of Moon even, you're able to have multiple copies of Emergency Teleport to jump you back into the game. And if you get your life points lower, all your Gold Pride monsters also work as extenders. They're a way to be able to keep special summoning despite they're really not locked into just their normal summon. Like something like Prank Kids were, right? Where you just had normal summon, you Book of Moon one of their Prank Kids. It could be just all over from there.
Yeah, this deck actually has so many ways to get started. It's just about not being locked out of the game, which is absolutely what Joel's trying to do once more. Set up that Arise Heart, set up multiple forms of interruptions via Unicorn, the field spell, maybe even Fenrir as well. We'll see how wide he decides to go again. Maybe seeing what kind of strategy that Adam is on. He is more aware that Dark Ruler is almost certainly in his deck now. Maybe he wants to be a little bit more cautious to how much he invests.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to consider Thrust, too. After side decking, I would think going into this tournament, someone would have triple tactics Thrust, either in their main deck or side deck, because of how impactful it can be when you talk about grabbing Dark Ruler no more or Talents. But we'll have to see if that's going to be how it plays out here in game number 3. One of these players is moving on with a 2-1 record. The other one's going to already have 2 losses, and it's going to be tough. And I do already see that Dark Ruler no more in Adam's hand. So already off to a better start than he was in game 1.
Well...
Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon. Caster Curse, Commentator Curse. Gets met by Dimension Shifter, which is actually pretty... It's not crippling to the Gold Pride Punk strategy, but it hurts.
I think at this point, though, because he has access to that Dark Ruler no more, he has access to Cosmic Cyclone to probably deal with some follow-up as well. That's the interesting thing, right? A lot of people, they talk about how they have to deal with the Rise Heart with these strategies that are more graveyard-based. But how many cards are you putting in your deck that specifically deal with the Rise Heart? And then you only need one of them to actually work. So if you have, let's say, 4 copies of cards in your hand that are only meant to deal with the Rise Heart, you don't really get too far. But
it's that side decking issue sometimes. You draw all your side deck and none of what you originally, your main engine.
But then we get access to cards like Cosmic Cyclone, which are generally just good against everything else except for a Rise Heart. People are making that concession that, fine, I only need 1 card to deal with a Rise Heart. I want to just really differentiate my forms of removal. Having that additional Cosmic Cyclone will be really useful in the crackback. Because I think all Adam has to do here, activate Dark Ruler no more, set up a Zeus. And that's how he gets through the shifter line.
Dark Ruler no more into Zeus sounds like a plan to me. Yeah, Dimension Shifter, quite a strong card. So we saw him start off the Shifter, then he specialed Unicorn, pretty iconic start here for Kashtira. And then the Unicorn added Theosis. The Theosis summoned Fenrir from the deck, and now that Kashtira Fenrir is going to add Scareclaw Kashtira to the hand. Now the Shifter actually kind of hurting Joel here, because he'd rather have that Theosis in the graveyard to banish to summon that Scareclaw Kashtira, but yeah, I think it's still fine. I think he's still going to activate the Dimension Shifter 9 out of 10 times.
Absolutely. I mean, you do want to get that Theosis value, but at the very least, that just means you can add it, or you can attach it, rather, to the Arise Heart whenever a card is banished, and whenever that gets detached now, you'll get its effect later.
True. He could have actually held off on the Shifter, used the Theosis, then banished the Theosis if he wanted to summon the Scareclaw this turn, and then shifted him, right? Because he just had no cards in his graveyard?
Yeah, he could have had the foresight to do something like that. I think
if he wanted
risks,
to.
Yeah.
They're definitely playing harder into Nibiru and stuff like that. So I imagine, the Scareclaw is more so for follow-up.
This is very interesting. It doesn't look like Joel is going to commit to the Shangri-Ira's Big Bang play anymore. He looks like he's just putting up that copy of Fenrir and Shangri-Ira. He doesn't need to make a Rise Heart, right?
The shifter. I think that's what his mindset is I don't need to make a Rise Heart because I have the shifter, but Rise Heart's still a good card. A lot harder to deal with than Fenrir and Unicorn.
So Joel has a copy of the Scareclaw in hand, so he's going to be able to protect himself from taking too much damage in the situation where if that would come up. If he needs to protect himself, potentially summoning in the main phase. But then he also has another copy of Birth as follow-up as well. So he has a pretty layered setup here, having access to Unicorn and Fenrir, along with Shifter already covering the Arise Heart portion of the Kashtira strategy. I think he's sitting pretty comfortably, but this Dark Ruler could mean the world for Adam.
Dark Ruler.
Dark
Ruler no more. Negate the effects of all your opponent's face-up monsters.
The Dark Ruler is banished. I'm sure it'll get banished eventually.
Normal summon Wagon.
All right, there's the Wagon.
Pay 600.
Going to be looking for the field spell, Punk Jam Extreme Session. I love the punk cards. I'm a fan of punk, the music genre, so I love that they're all kind of like band players. You thought maybe Dark Ruler like the Arise Heart, so that's probably why I thought it went to the graveyard, because normally if you Dark Ruler that, it's going to be banished, but yeah, we'll have to be banished thanks to Dimension Shifter.
I feel like if he was so unconcerned with Shifter that he forgot about it, that he has a plan to burst through the Shifter anyway.
Has the emergency teleport as well, looking like a good hand here for Adam.
I imagine he's going to be able to get the Ziam in here. He's going to put up the field spell, get another... Oh, he's actually just paying for the Ziam immediately, not choosing to get the draw yet.
Interesting.
Oh, because I imagine he is going to Zeus. He doesn't want to lose the field spell as well.
That's what it is.
Sorry. We'll get it this time, I promise. I can't go 0 for 3.
Adam realizing that he is not banishing those cards from the graveyard. If he does go 0 for 3, I'll let him know myself. Adding a copy of Foxygen, not a card that he can currently activate because of the Dimensional Shifter.
Here comes over. There's going to be Chariot Carry. He does have plenty of monsters he can attack in defense mode.
That does look like Carry.
So on summon, he's going to be able to add a Gold Pride spell from the deck to the hand. Since his life points lower, he could send one to the graveyard, but thinks that Dimension Shifter would be banished, so no point in doing that. Going to add Better Luck next time to try and access any Gold Pride monster that he wants from the deck. The one I'm looking for maybe is Chariot Carry. Obviously, he's probably going to try and go into Zeus here first. That's another thing about why Punk and Gold Pride work together. They don't lock you into anything. Neither of these strategies prevent you from using the other one.
Unicorn, I take 200.
Yep.
Dark Ruler more into Zeus is a great way to break a Kashtira board. If you at home are having trouble doing a Kashtira, maybe consider main decking Dark Ruler more. They really don't have too much layered interruption.
Yeah. If you're not playing Zeus, you should probably play Zeus. Even if you should find some Xyz monsters to play in your deck, because Zeus is just
so
that
good.
Card. Yeah.
It is the comeback card.
I don't think there's a more satisfying card to resolve.
All right, now that he's cleared the field, he's going to be able to use Better Luck next time to add Captain Carry to the hand.
I should be at 57.
So now he can special summon that Captain Carry from the hand since his life points are lower. And when Captain Carry is special summoned, he's going to be able to add a Gold Pride trap. And he's going to go for Gold Pride. Start your engines. The race has started. And he's going to be able to set it. It's a really cool card. I think I mentioned its effect earlier, where if opponent normal or special summons a monster, you can activate it, reveal 3 Gold Prime monsters, special summon 1 from your deck, and then destroy the monster. And he has the Roller Baller in hand and Nitro Head. Nitro Head is fantastic against Kashtira because it's going to be able to give them that token to prevent them from special summoning Kashtira monsters from the hand if he so chooses.
And now it looks like Adam went first.
It does.
Stand by.
So stand by, he's going to use Nitro Head, and he's going to throw that token. It's kind of like a bomb to where it could like, destroy it. He can, a quick effect, destroy it, and destroy all the cards around it.
Yeah, so plus 9.
So that half of his field, a little bit dangerous.
You gotta love the cards that just play into the zone mechanic. You know, ever since zones became so important in Yu-Gi-Oh, I love the cards that really make you think about it. But there is a Pot of Prosperity. That's probably one of the better cards you were able to start with. You can just kind of pick and choose what you want to do in this kind of scenario. You want to look for anything that can deal with the given situation. Now, if he didn't already have a copy of Kashtira Birth, that was what he's going to be looking for. I think he's just going to be looking for any normal summonable Kashtira monster once the Birth is on the field. So not necessarily the Rise Heart, but a Unicorn or a Fenrir is what you want to see.
The Econ's helpful. You can at least get that token off the field and then force out the Roller Baller, potentially.
Yeah, enemy controller, this is what I guess the fear that Adam was looking for.
He knew that's like their one ace in the hole potentially against this strategy. But if his hand isn't like anything good, he won't be able to even have the luxury of adding enemy controller.
We know at the very least he has Birth, and he doesn't know that Adam has the Cyclone to answer it. And it's going to be up to Adam if...
Looks like you had a Kashtira Birth.
No, I think I like this play here. Because even if Adam does have a copy of Cosmic Cyclone, the biggest concern is Adam's going to be afraid that Joel will just normal summon immediately, so he will just use the Cosmic Cyclone before he activates the effect, so he can just follow it up with the second one. Well, he's attempting to special summoning Fenrir when he has a token, so maybe he hadn't considered that yet. But.
Cool.
What?
No, like you have a monster on the field.
Oh, this is a right.
He was like, cool. Yeah, I was like, no, yeah, you can't special summon Kashtira monsters unless you don't have any monsters on the field. He's activating all these cards very close to. So on the summon, he's going to activate Start Your Engines, so he's going to be able to reveal 3 Gold Pride monsters.
Yeah, Adam did not take the bait there, did not choose to remove the Birth on activation. He's going to attempt to wait until it's activating its effect.
Do you want me to change zone? Sure.
Just a small warning for trying to do an illegal action there.
This is good.
That's, yep.
So Start Your Engine is going to reveal 3 Gold Prides, and then it's going to take down that Kashtira Fenrir.
Now, which Gold Prides are you typically trying to reveal? Is it just 3 copies of Leon?
I think when you have all the other 3 up there, that'd be Leon would be the one to go to, so you can maybe quick synchro during your opponent's turn for Star Leon. And Chariot Carry is going to be the one he doesn't want. And he does get Chariot Carry. I think he's only playing 1 copy of the trap card, so he's not going to be able to add any cards. But it's another name that he can fuse with for Rollerballer. The more names you use, the more monsters you can take.
All right, well, now Joel is in a really tough situation here. He didn't take the enemy controller. He's going to rely on the Birth to be able to continue summoning. He's already
used the Birth to summon. Oh, no, you just use the normal summon, right?
Summon, yeah.
Birth lets you normal summon a level 7 higher monster, then watch your turn, you can summon a level 7 from your graveyard or banished?
Yeah, Kashtira monster.
Kashtira monster. The level 7 Kashtira.
Well, you can summon Rise Heart.
I don't think you can summon a Rise Heart with Birth. I think it's only monsters. Was Birth the one that lets you? No, Preparations lets you summon a Rise Heart.
Not a Rise Heart. Rise Heart.
Oh, Rise Heart. Yeah, not a Rise. A Rise, yes. Oh, yeah, I guess Seat's level 4, yep. But it's going to chain that Cosmic Cyclone to the Birth.
And now Joel is stuck with another copy of Birth, as well as the Scareclaw Kashtira that he added to his hand on the previous turn. Adam should not. Adam doesn't necessarily know about the second Birth, but this is enough information to know that Joel doesn't have anything to follow up here. Adam has 5 monsters to start off this turn.
Gold Pride Clinic. So he's going to use Rollerballer to make Pinballer. It has 3,000 attack, I believe, so it's definitely strong. So he's going to take that token. It's just going to go away. Yep. Can't equip a token, so it just kind of leaves the field.
Adam has a clear shot for game here, but he needs to be wary of the Scareclaw just sitting in his hand. He might be able to block that damage. Doesn't want to get too greedy here, or too reckless, rather.
Okay.
Oh, so the token does not disappear in this case.
Interesting.
I
did not know you could do that. Now it's going to battle phase, and it looks like you were right about trying to save himself by summoning that Scareclaw this year, but it's still in the main phase. He does have emergency teleport. He has plenty of cards to keep on going. The writing is on the wall here. It looks like Adam is moments away from taking his Gold Pride to a 2-in-1 record.
And all he has to do is put up enough stats to be able to clear over. And there's the Jam Drive that we knew about. The Ziaman's going to be able to add another monster. Jam Drive's going to be able to draw a card. He just needs to be able to summon a monster big enough here.
Yep. And if you're excited about Gold Pride Zion, we do have Gold Pride accessories coming out this month that you're going to get your hands on. Captain Carry crew sleeves. They have the little logo. The stitching around them is amazing. The game mat features Chariot Carry that looks fantastic. And the portfolio has more artwork from some of the other cards, along with like the logos from all the different racers from the Gold Pride. Really fantastic accessories that I can't wait to get my hands on.
We see Ogre Dance adding another copy of Ziaman. He's using the effective field spell now to be able to special summon from the hand. Going to summon Foxtune. I think he's going to be synchro summoning into 11, into a copy of Punisher again.
Now he can use Punisher's effect to get rid of his carry and take out the Scareclaw Kashtira.
Punisher's going to be gaining 3,900 for that difference.
No, looks like he's just going to get rid of his Zeus.
And then that's enough. Just going into the battle phase again.
I mean, yeah, the Psychic Punisher is going to gain 3,900 attack.
Draw a psychic effect.
Oh, that counts as well. He's taking that damage. And that is enough. Adam Belarovsky being able to move on with the next one record against the Kashtira matchup that he was so confident against, even though after that game one, I wasn't so sure.
I mean, yeah, he had to play through Dimension Shifter with a decent Kashtira board at best, and then you're really able to show the power of Gold Pride, being able to extend, when you draw Gold Pride monsters, plus Emergency Teleport, and you have like Dark Riddle and more or something like that, it's fantastic what you can do with the deck. The deck kind of just snowballs a massive advantage, and it has the layered points of disruption. It was one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of the Gold Pride team in general.
Not a strategy you expected to see, but that's just one of the things about tournaments like this. You get to see so much that you didn't expect, even these kind of upsets.